You hit upload, and instead of feeling proud, you feel exposed. It's like that moment your video's out to the world. Everyone's watching you. And I don't think this is a feeling unique to me. I imagine it's the same with everyone who's uploaded a video before. And it's strange because that moment right after you upload, there's sort of a mix of feelings. I mean, at least in my case, there's this sense of relief. You spent all this time on this video and you finally put it out to the world and you get to see how people react to it, and you feel this proudness of creating something. But there's also this anxiety that you feel, right? You're questioning things you could have done better with the video, you're nitpicking at issues with the thumbnails, perhaps your voicing is too fast, or perhaps your volume mixing felt off, and then you question the title. Maybe it's not searchable and you start thinking too much about SEO and the algorithm. And I think for a lot of us as well, there's this obsession with looking at the analytics and almost refreshing the page as soon as the video comes out, thinking that something will change, and most of the time it doesn't, and you just get stuck in that sort of trap of caring so much about how you're perceived that you forget about the process of creation itself and making something individual to you, which at the end of the day is the most important part to creativity. It's not about appealing others, but about appealing yourself and appeasing yourself and finding what's unique to you. And it's a strange thing because when you first upload, being seen, it feels unnatural, and your brain almost thinks of it like you're in a social situation, right? Imagine you're giving a speech or you're at an interview and you're speaking directly to a person and you're watching how your voice is portrayed, how loud your words are, the words that you say, because you're conscious that you're in a social interaction. There's certain social standards that, we've been taught to adhere to. It's strange because in a way, when you upload a video to YouTube, it almost feels like your brain reacts in that same manner. And even when nobody is necessarily watching the video, it doesn't change how your brain reacts to it. You're still aware that people could watch it, so you feel as if you are being watched. There's almost this sense of being hyper aware of yourself, the content that you put out, the mannerisms that you make, mannerisms in your speech. And, you start imagining things like judgment that isn't happening, and that sort of thing can spiral. It's not necessarily that you're afraid of YouTube, it's more being afraid of perception. And to be fair, I think a lot of creators are able to push past this barrier to some extent, but I think what a lot of people don't talk about is how many possible creators never even start because of this fear of perception. And I mean, to anyone experiencing something like that, I'd say if you do want to create or upload, just go for it. And if you really aren't happy with what you put out, you can always take the video down, make a new one. But I would say that fear of embarrassment, that fear of perception, is better than having a fear of regret, right? And then after you upload, you often think about whether you should upload, whether you should have uploaded. You might rewatch your own videos. I'm someone who tends not to do that these days because, at least for me, when you rewatch, you're almost your biggest self-critic, and it's quite an unpleasant experience. I mean, rewatching your videos can be good for improving, but at least for me, I mean, I'm able to rewatch parts while editing, and rewatching the final content, it's not really something I'm able to do without constantly cringing and finding different parts awkward. And if I keep rewatching my videos, it almost makes me want to delete it. It causes me to obsess over every part. So at least for me, that's part of why I don't do it. But I'm also aware that perhaps rewatching them could be good in terms of learning how to improve on different aspects of what I'm making. So it's a strange thing because it's almost like you start YouTube and your standards are so high because you're aware that there's, so much competition with creators who have been on it for years, who have all of these skills, and a lot of people almost compare their first videos to these creators' videos that have been honed and refined, often by teams of people. And a lot of people get demotivated by that kind of thing. And I feel like what is good to acknowledge is that comparison is something that will really bring you down. What you should be doing is not comparing yourself to others, but just comparing yourself to your previous video, your previous 2 videos, the first video you ever made, and just try to make improvement on that. 1% each upload, 10% each upload, and if you can do that, imagine once you've made 100 videos, how good the final ones will be. And that's really what you should be aiming for. And I often wonder if this feeling of fear of being perceived ever really goes away. I can't really talk too much about it myself because I'm a relatively new creator, so I'd be curious how it is for any other creators who have been at this for a much longer time. Maybe someone would be able to leave a message in the comments, but at least for me, in these sort of 2 weeks that I've been uploading, it definitely does get easier. It's strange because the fear never goes away, but there's also this excitement about, interacting with your viewers, finding out ways you could improve. And I would say that definitely beats and overcomes that, fear that people won't like your videos, and helps boost that confidence even, after exposure. So I would say that's just sort of how I've been feeling with that. And I suppose that really that uncomfortable feeling that we get after uploading, it's not a warning sign, it's not something telling you to stop, but really it's the cost of starting and beginning and building something. So if any of you guys listening have felt any of this, then please leave a comment. I'd be curious to know on your experience with how it was to make your, first few videos, how it felt uploading, and if you ever wanted to take them down, or if you did take them down. And if you enjoyed the video, then I would really appreciate if you could smash that like button, subscribe, and like. Thanks for watching.